Great football club. Hopefully a team that you can all be proud of and more importantly get excited by.
Across the Son, it's a brilliant Tottenham Hotspur goal. That was a sensational team move. And it's why they're going to go 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League.
They're going to be a danger for real this season. I mean, I expect them to be pushing for top 4. I'm not saying they're going to get it, but I expect them to push for it.
They look like Super Spurs, and under Postecoglou, they look like football connoisseurs.
But at times you do leave yourself open, the high line.
If there is a corner, you know Spurs fans will be feeling, come on lads.
Yeah, we're fine with set pieces.
Tarkowski's header may have hit the goalkeeper and gone in.
He hasn't been good enough to claim the first 3, and the fourth one's ended up in the back of the net.
Well, you got Maddison hobbling, you got Van der Ven off with a hamstring, the wheels are falling off.
They might need to just tweak defensively a few things that I've seen, certainly with my professional eye.
Ange cannot continue to play this way. If he don't learn to have a plan B and adapt and change his style, he's going to lose his job.
3 wins in 14 in all competitions for Ange. Nuno was sacked with 7 wins in 14. Mourinho was sacked with 8 wins in 14. And Poch was sacked with 4 wins in 14. So something ain't right.
16 years since they were in the lower half of the Premier League on Christmas Day. Tottenham lose again. Spurs 1, Leicester 2. Spurs day 15, and it just gets worse and worse for Spurs. And oh my, the pressure now is going to just mount on Ange Postecoglou.
I tell you what, that lad's a good football reporter, isn't he? It's the Social on talkSPORT.
An absolute disgrace.
It's the Social on talkSPORT2 with Sam Millard. Tottenham suffering a 4th consecutive Premier League defeat, and Postecoglou's side have won just one of their past 11 matches in the Premier League. 15th in the table. Big win for Leicester, up to 17th, 1 point now above Wolves. The anger inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was palpable before Leicester's comeback. Many chances you heard there against the chairman, Daniel Levy. With 8 days left in the window, both Postecoglou and Levy are in need of serious help. Let's now hear from Postecoglou.
You know, I don't spend too much time thinking about the reality of sport and football at the moment is that, you know, the judging is, you know, constant and it's now, and, you know, where we are in the league is obviously nowhere near good enough, and that's a reflection on me and my coaching and what I'm doing. But, you know, I keep saying that I am, you know, really positive about the future of this group of players. I just really think that, you know, once we get some players back and they get some help, that even this year that we can make an impact.
I'm about to say now that we're joined by the YouTuber and the host of the Spurs Chat podcast, somebody that's on talkSPORT very regularly, Chris Cowlin. Afternoon, Chris. How are you?
Afternoon. Very deflated right now.
Yeah, I bet you are. Chris, I was there yesterday doing the game for talkSPORT, and the Spurs fans, not all of them, but the majority of them, they made their feelings known. They were angry at one man yesterday and one man only. It wasn't Ange Postecoglou, it wasn't the players, it was Daniel Levy. Is that fair? Is that right? Should the blame lie right now on Daniel Levy?
What I would say is we've gone through so many different managers, and have all of these managers been backed? Have all of these managers been wrong? Probably not. As Antonio Conte said, and I'm going to quote him, if they continue in this way, they can change the manager, a lot of managers, but the situation cannot change, believe me. Now, I've gone to every single game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium since we moved in April 2019. I've never heard that level of criticism aimed at Daniel Levy and the board throughout a match. It was relentless yesterday. A lot of people are very, very unhappy. A lot of people pay a lot of money for season tickets year after year. The club is so well supported. We're in such a great position, I believe, under Mauricio Pochettino. We've, him included, having been sacked in 2019, we've gone through 7 different managers in the dugout, now up to Postecoglou. I thought that this would be different under Postecoglou. I thought that the board would change because we've gone through a couple of win-now managers in Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, the managers that have gone and won everywhere that they have gone and been very successful. Postecoglou came in, the club hit the reset button. We sold Harry Kane. You think that you're going to see some ambition. You think that you're going to see something different. In that first summer window under Postecoglou, we did see a little bit of a change because we got signings in early, which we have never seen before as Spurs fans, because we're always waiting until the very, very last day. They then got a couple of deals done early January last year. So all of us Spurs fans felt that, we'd got our Tottenham back. That's what was sung on the terraces in that, first 10 games under Ange Postecoglou sitting top of the Premier League, having won 8, drawn 2. Everything looked rosy. We've got our attacking style back. Everyone was extremely happy with it. Yes, we've had a lot of injuries, but the man needs help. Postecoglou needs help. He has said publicly a number of times, we need help. Give us some players. We're now, 26, 27 days into the transfer window. We've signed a goalkeeper and we need outfield players. I am extremely disappointed. I feel very deflated because I'm normally one of the most positive Spurs fans out there. I always see the best in everything. And right now, there is so much discontent aimed towards the board. There are a lot of people wanting the manager gone. Some fans are slagging off certain players, and there's a lot of arguments among the fan base itself. So it is a pretty big mess right now.
Do you want Ange gone?
I don't think that Ange Postecoglou is going to take this club forward because I've been big fan.
He can't take the club forward in the current situation, given the fact that he couldn't fill the bench yesterday. He's got 5 academy kids on the bench, and he's got 10 first-team players. I agree with you in that situation, but does he not then deserve more time to see where Spurs are at when players get fit again? And does he not deserve the time, given the fact that Spurs are still in 3 cup competitions?
Look, during this season, we have recorded hours upon hours of podcasts, and we have this conversation week in, week out. We spent 2.5 hours on the podcast last night, and we still couldn't agree on whether it's a good idea to keep Ange in the job or not. I love Ange Postecoglou football when it works, but the only reason why it's going to work is if he gets the players in that he wants. I don't think that is going to happen, sadly. But I've always asked the question, if it doesn't work under people like Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte, where on earth do you go next? Of course, Spurs then went to appoint Ange Postecoglou, a different brand of football, the Spurs way, the Spurs style, if you like. And, you've got to back the guy. If you've gone for a major reset, you have to back the guy and give him the players that he needs, that are going to work in his system. If you're not, then it's never, ever going to work. There is a lot of criticism aimed at Ange Postecoglou as well, his style of football. But when his style works, it is great to watch. We are probably the most entertaining team in the Premier League. I feel now, though, we are the most entertaining team in the Premier League to watch for the neutral because you know how many goals we're gonna concede as well. So it's not been great. This January has been very, very difficult. I get all of the injuries, but what I would say about Ange Postecoglou is sometimes he does need to adapt and sometimes he needs to change things up, in order to get the job done because, we're not the first team. We won't be the last team in the Premier League to have suffered so many injuries. Sometimes you just need to find a way to win.
But would you say, Chris, in terms of who the manager is, who the players are, that if Spurs are to move forward from a footballing point of view, and if there was any chance for Spurs to be a successful football team, that there has to be a change at the top in terms of the footballing department. And that obviously means Daniel Levy, I'm not saying completely leaving, but maybe certainly stepping aside in terms of the day-to-day running of the football club. From a football point of view, would that be fair?
Don't get me wrong. I think that Daniel Levy, certain aspects of the football club has done a wonderful job. The stadium, the training facilities, every single person that comes onto talkSPORT, they say exactly the same thing. All of the pundits, all of the ex-players, etc., all of you guys, you always say what a wonderful stadium we've got, what a wonderful training ground we've got, etc. We want to see wonderful players. We want to see a wonderful squad. Tottenham Hotspur fans want to see Spurs challenging for the top honours, the Premier League, etc. We are nowhere near that. We're closer to the relegation zone. Everyone was joking about, could Spurs get relegated? I now tell you that there are a lot of Spurs fans looking at that table thinking, oh my God, where is our next win coming from? What I want to see is the football club showing some ambition, backing a manager fully so we can drive forward because we pay top prices, one of the top prices in Premier League football for tickets. Yes, we're being entertained, but we're shipping a lot of goals. They haven't got the right players on the pitch. They need to do a lot more. And how many managers do you want to go through? The amount of managers we've gone through since 2001, since Daniel Levy has been in charge, a lot of managers have come out and said exactly the same thing. Silly me, I thought it would be slightly different under Postecoglou because where else can you go? Where else can you go when you have Mauricio Pochettino, who took us to a Champions League final? He didn't spend a penny in 518 days through multiple transfer windows. You then sack him overnight. You bring in Jose Mourinho, someone who has gone and won everywhere where he's gone, and then you sack him 6 days before a final, a terrible decision, in my opinion. Then you bring in Nuno Espirito Santo. Then you bring in Antonio Conte. We've had a couple of interim managers along the way as well. Where on earth do you go? You bring in Ange Postecoglou because, Daniel Levy wanted that style back. He wanted the fans to say, we've got our Tottenham back. Yes, we did. We did. But you cannot continue. You've got to progress. You've got to keep bringing in, top talent, top players. I get, we have some players at the moment who have huge potential. We've got Bergvall, Gray, even Spence has been given an opportunity and he's grabbed it. So, and Mikey Moore as well. We've got some great young talented players, but we need leaders in there as well. We need experienced players in there. You need players that have been there.
And also, Chris, the problem is the lads that aren't getting injured, the lads that are fit, are having to play a game every 3 or 4 days, and they look absolutely knackered.
They are absolutely shattered. Yes, we've got a lot of injuries, but I don't feel that you can keep using that same narrative all the time. Oh, we've got injuries. We're so close to the relegation zone, and this last week or so, travelling up to Goodison Park, we're 3-0 down at half time, and then losing to Leicester in the fashion and the manner that we did yesterday. It was embarrassing. It's pathetic.
Chris, just final question. How do you think things will go? Do you think that you're going to get any players in? And then do you think that Daniel Levy is going to stick with Ange, or do you think there's a chance there could be a new manager in soon?
I think that at the moment they're going to stick with Ange Postecoglou. I feel like next week is a very, very big week. Of course, we play in the Europa League on Thursday at home. We're expected to win that one. Brentford away, I think it's going to be a very difficult game on Sunday. And then next week is the big week. The 2 cup games, Liverpool away in the Carabao Cup second leg. That's going to be a very, very tough game. And Aston Villa in the FA Cup. Yes, I get Ange Postecoglou in the way that he said that, yes, it could be a successful season because Spurs could lift a trophy. We are still in 3 cup competitions, but let's be realistic. You need to have January additions in the window. And I'm not just sitting here saying, go out and spend the money. They've got to be the right players because Spurs have gone out and spent money before, but it's been the wrong players. But you need to give the manager, the tools in order to do his job. But will Ange last the season? I have no idea. Will Daniel Levy go anywhere? I don't think so. He's had a lot of criticism before. He stayed in the job. It's a very, very difficult one. But I feel like some players certainly need to step up, and we certainly need points in the Premier League right now.
Chris, thank you for your time, and hopefully speak to you soon in better times.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was Chris Cowlin there. You can catch him on social media and watch all of his YouTube.